What would happen if the world turned into gold? Picture this: you wake up one morning to a golden sky with yellow clouds and the blazing yellow ground beneath your feet. Before you call us gross, all that yellowness is gold. Today, Explained Earth explores what would happen if the world turned to gold. Hola, and welcome back to our channel. We here at Explained Earth are back with yet another banger. Before you devour this delicious golden juice, make sure to salute the subscribe button to never miss out on any more of that delicious content. Let us jump right into the content of today's video. What if the Earth we live on today was made by Midas? For those of you who are clueless about the man, Midas was an ancient ruler who lived millennia ago in Phrygia. While the line between fact and fiction appears to be a blurry one, folklore has it that everything he touched turned into gold. Some stories even go on to call him greedy for gold. Wow, fascinating, isn't it? What would you have asked King Midas had you been his friend? We'll go first. We'd have asked him for a golden YouTube button. Alas, the man is long gone. Coming back to the topic at hand, we wouldn't have gotten this far if we lived in a golden globe. To get to the bottom of this hypothetical scenario, let's start with the basics. Let's go back to high school chemistry, shall we? Gold, or arurum, has the atomic number 79. If you and the subject chemistry had decent chemistry, you'd know that it has 79 protons and 118 neutrons in its nucleus. What we mean to say with that is that it's pretty dense. Guess what that changes? Literally everything. Shocked? So were we when we found this piece of information. We'd like to bring in another analogy here. Let's assume that you want to gain weight. You have two options. Option A, you could mindlessly binge on junk, or option B, you get a customized diet planned for yourself. While both would ensure you gaining weight, only one of them would ensure that you stay healthy. Now, let's just suppose that with our hypothetical scenario, if everything in our current environment was to transform into gold, it would have two ways to do so. One, by gaining more electrons, protons, and neutrons. If this were to happen, we'd live in a dense, gigantic setting, more like the land of giants in Gulliver's Travels. What would that do? Well, what would a pressure cooker do when the air trapped has nowhere to escape? No prizes for guessing. It would explode. With all those extra atoms forced to bubble up in limited space, we'd be no different. In other words, we would be reduced to ashes of gold. Had Midas sought this method to convert our globe from blue to gold, we wouldn't be here today. Talk about mass genocide. The second way to convert other molecules to gold would be by modifying their structure. This would be no different than a well-formed assembly line. No one goes out of the line or gets added, but is made to stand in order. Similarly, atoms are dissolved, and the charged particles are rearranged. Although the end product would lack substance, it wouldn't cause an explosion. But that wouldn't solve our problems. In fact, it would be the beginning of the end. With density out of the way, outer space would compress this foamy golden ball. With that, gravity goes out the window, and we'd be floating around like astronauts in outer space. But hey, we don't need to simulate zero gravity anymore. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Well, hold your horses before you hear the whole story. The Earth can't and won't keep shaking forever. There will come a point when gravity returns and mercilessly tosses us around like rag dolls, painting the ground red for years to come. More so like Ice Age that swept away the dinosaurs from the face of our planet. What would be the perfect name to call such a time? The Float Age? The Age of Gold? If you have a better name, tell us in the comment section down below. Uh-oh, do we see you frown? Well, don't do it quite yet, cause it's not the Earth and the rest of the solar system lived peacefully ever after kind of stories. Crushed in a million ways, at the same time, the atmosphere heats up to about 1 million degrees Celsius. Unable to keep up with the forces generated by the ever-compressing Earth, everything remaining gets vaporized, leaving behind a golden plasma cloud which later goes on to compete with the Sun. This doesn't go on for long, the plasma later cools down, leaving a tiny golden ball in an ever-expanding galaxy. I wonder what that would actually look like. In case you forgot, we're discussing real consequences under the umbrella of a hypothetical scenario. Before we go there, we at Explained Earth know that we attract science lovers and dreamers alike. So if you got carried away in your own world of overthinking, we totally understand. Feel free to pause the video or rewind it for a couple of minutes. Right before you relapse, scroll down and show us some love, cause why not? The subscribe icon and the bell button patiently await you. While you're at it, consider giving us a thumbs up and let us know what part of the video you liked so far. Who wouldn't like a little motivation? What were we talking about just now? Ah, yes, replacement. See, even we get carried away sometimes. What if everything were to just be substituted with the same volume made from solid gold? In case you didn't know, gold is approximately 3 times denser than most of the materials that compose our Earth. For our regular science geeks, we hope that piece of information isn't brand new. With expansion out of the window, the Earth is left with no choice but to bear down its weight. What would that do for us, I hear you ask? It would mean that we would have to deal with 3 times more gravity than we usually deal with today. Talk about weightlifting full time. It will just be a matter of time before you bow down to the ground. Phew, that is exhausting to even imagine. But wait, as Cassie said in Euphoria, this is just the beginning. If we live as we live now when the Earth turns to gold, it's not just us in the picture, right? Everything will seem excruciating and tough to bear, from the air to the buildings. While that alone isn't sufficient to cost us our lives, what comes next is enough to do the job. The constant squeezing of the Earth is enough to elevate its temperature to 150 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent to microwaving us. Well, speaking of microwaves, would you like us to explore what would happen if the world turned into a microwave? Tell us in the comment section down below. While gold may be dense, it is also malleable and weaker than steel, causing mountains made of gold to compress under their own weight. This can cause massive landslides and earthquakes. What that does is bring down the height of these mountains to the point that they can't even be called mountains, more like gold hills or even gold plains. Since the difference in elevation doesn't exist anymore, the land and the sea merge. What remains after this apocalypse of an event is a sweltering golden land submerged in blue and of course garnished by corpses. What a tragic end to the best of our options. Well, at least in this case, the Earth and the rest of the solar system get to coexist happily ever after. Well, how about that? Let's think of the whole thing from another point of view, shall we? Would gold have the same value on a planet full of it? Would thieves be after it, or the government raid it as they do now? What would be the object of value on the Golden Globe? We also wonder what would happen to the tale of Rumpelstiltskin. If the writer lived in a world made of gold, would the character spin woo the maiden? All these are questions that will remain unanswered as they lay in our minds, as we segue into the end of this video. We had a great time researching and coming up with this topic, though hypothetical in nature. In fact, we hope we were able to hold your attention for this long. We take a moment to pat ourselves on the back if we managed to do so. Which part of this video procured your interest most? Or rather, which part of it caused you to shatter in fear? All 3 scenarios were tough competitors if you ask us. If you want to know more about our Earth and the universe surrounding it, subscribe to Explained Earth and we will tell you all about it. Tune in next week to learn all about it. Tell us what you would like to hear from us next. We'll be hanging out in the comments down below for the next couple of days, eagerly awaiting your responses. Also, this is a gentle reminder to hit that subscribe button and smash the bell icon. And with that, it's ciao from us.